Wednesday, we promised you about the much-awaited conversation. We want to talk about the essence of tertiary education, but my guest this morning is the very accomplished scholar and a very proud Ghanaian, a past student of Nandom Secondary School. He also is an ABSU, a very proud one. In 1991, he won the Head of State Award. Fast forward to 2008, his U.S. Black Engineer of the Year, Most Promising Scientist Award he won that as well. And he has, to his credit, 22 patents being used currently in the United States, also part of the technical committee headed by the Minister for Science, Innovation and Technology, and currently is a provost and president of this academic city college in Accra. My guest this morning is a proud Ghanaian, Professor Fred McBagonluri. Chief, good morning. How are you doing? We look like twins this morning.
I'm telling you.
I wanted to pick a blue-black blazer, and I thought most professors would do blue-black blazers, so I decided to pick something like this. And here you come in a similar thing.
Well, I also started off looking at blue, and then I said maybe for TV lights, the contrast would be better with a little color.
Right. And so here we are. How are you doing these days, Prof?
Not too bad, not too bad. You know, really busy trying to shift the goalposts for Academic City College.
Right. You've lived in both worlds, in Africa and in the West as well. Yeah. What does our educational system here tell you? Does it train people to live for life as it does elsewhere?
Yeah. So I think the interesting thing overall is that when you look globally, we're not doing too bad with the academic system that we have. The same academic system had produced the likes of, you know, Professor Victor Lawrence, right, a very, very prominent Ghanaian scientist. Oseyo Asare, one of my favorite Ghanaian scientists of all times.
Right.
And so it has done its part. The challenge is it still relevant for the times?
You tell me.
Is it creative enough for the times? Well, I don't think so. I think we're globally behind. Obviously, in many parts of the world, it's not just about great brain power,
right,
but it's also about offering an educational system that allows creativity to foster, that allows people to create things, undo them, and put them together. An educational system that essentially allows people to unlearn and relearn in a very, very dynamic ecosystem. I think that is what we are missing. It's still too conservative. It's still too old-fashioned. Whose
job is it to know? I mean, because people are applying to go to schools to be formed and to be trained for life.
Yes.
It isn't, therefore, not the students' duty, first of all, to couch their curriculum. There's a National Accreditation Board that decides. So who must lead the charge?
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head. The National Accreditation Board definitely can help shape some of these dynamics. What tends to happen is they stick with what they know, which is the old system that we have. Sometimes if you try to introduce new things, you face challenges because people don't really know what it is.
Right.
I think it's time for us to really look outside. You know, look at a small country like Rwanda that came out of war not too long ago.
Exactly, 94.
And they are boasting of some of the best universities in the world. They are boasting of technological integration into the agricultural sector. It's just amazing what Rwanda is doing. And for an innovator myself, sometimes when I read about Rwanda, I itch. Is it that we can't see that? Is it that we don't think that is good enough for us? Is it that we're afraid to experiment? After all, man has been experimenting throughout history.
Right.
You know, when man transitioned from intuition, you know, from superstition, from religion to science, man has been experimenting and trying to figure things out. And I think an educational system that is dynamic, that is evolving, that is in tune with the times is really what we're missing.
Does the National Accreditation Board, the Ministry of Education, the Ghana Education, do they realize this problem you're mirroring to us this morning?
I have no doubt that they do. I mean, most of the people that run this country go abroad all the time.
So what's keeping them from implementing anything close to what's out there?
It's inertia. It's inertia. The inertia that attempting to change things in a dynamic way would disrupt the establishment sometimes can be very daunting, and people tend to stay comfortable with what they know. It's conservatism.
So there's a regular student who, you're also a founding dean of engineering at the Ashesi University, and now you're president and provost of the Academic City College in Accra.
Yes, sir.
So I'm looking at both schools, and it tends to churn out a different kind of graduate as opposed to the regulars that we have.
That's correct.
What is the trick so that if I go and do communication studies, for example, at the GIJ, I can compete efficiently and effectively with somebody who does same at Academic City or Ashesi, and you will not see the lapses and the flaws?
That's correct. So I think the can-do spirit is key.
Right.
A strong liberal arts foundation that allows the kids to learn excellent communication skills, to learn how to work in a team environment,
Right.
to understand the value of ethics, to understand the value of entrepreneurial thinking. I think it's very, very key. I mean, when I taught engineering at Ashesi University, one of the things that was always obvious was that besides impacting knowledge on these kids, they also needed an environment where they needed to feel comfortable.
Okay.
You know, kids have come from villages, kids have come from Kenya, Uganda. They are missing that protective environment of family.
Right.
And so you're just more than a teacher. You're also a figure that they are looking forward to. Is that the person that I want to emulate? Is that the person that I can really learn something that I can go into society and apply? Is that somebody that has accomplished what they're actually talking about?
Right.
You know, talking about it is one thing, but have they done it?
Have they done it before?
And that was very important to these children.
So then the instructors must have lived what they are teaching the children or the students.
I mean, if you haven't lived it, how do you deliver it?
The schools are springing up everywhere. I mean, we have what we call the university colleges now. They're springing up everywhere and any and every day.
That's correct.
And yet, the quality of people who get into the marketplace are not employable.
Yes.
Are we losing it?
Yeah.
The relevance of tertiary education, for example.
So, you know, one of the myths that I continuously hear in the discourse on higher education is the notion that universities are not supposed to impact skills, that they are supposed to give you access to some fundamentals and that you go into society itself and build it. And that's a very wrong notion. You know, when you want to have an effective educational system, you have to look at what your needs are. It has to be reconfigured to your own reality. And our reality is that, unlike in the United States, we don't have these major industries where students go on internships and get that knowledge set that we think universities should not offer. So now, in the absence of that, employers are looking for students, graduates, who will come in, plug and play directly. And that's not what our educational system is providing.
They're looking for work experience.
They're looking for work experience.
Where do they get it from?
Exactly. So now it rests on the universities to create programs where kids get access to this. So they have to be able to get access to the analytics, which is the fundamental basis of the knowledge itself. They need to have access to a simulation environment. They need to have access to experimentation. They need to have access to construction. And they need to have access to internship. And it is this combination that is going to differentiate us from our neighbors and help us play in the global
Over the
arena.
last 10 years, the issue of entrepreneurship has been big, front burner. Most of the universities have it as part of their modules, academic programming. But you find very, very few entrepreneurs. What's the problem? Are they not being taught right, or are they not applying what they're being taught? What is it?
So, you know, when you meet entrepreneurs in Ghana, the first thing they will tell you is that we don't have the money to develop our ideas. But it's often not about the money. It's always, do you have a great idea? Do you have a sellable idea? How did you package your idea? Are you able to find the right people to present your ideas to? So entrepreneurship for the sake of entrepreneurship will not take us far. We need to understand that whole ecosystem, right, that allows ideas to flourish, which means that we need angel investors, we need programs that help students transition, you know, from the academic setting. If the schools cannot provide everything they need to be successful, there should be a place where they can go. We should have entrepreneurial centers, whether by philanthropists or by government, where people can actually go and learn these things. And you know, until we actually realize that by supporting these kids to start new enterprises, the economy will not flourish, and therefore it's not money wasted. That is actually an investment in the future. It will be very difficult for us to see results. We'll just teach entrepreneurship same way that we've taught other courses in the last 60
The Vice
years.
President recently was talking about the use of technology. Because
Yes.
you're an engineer, I want to draw that
Yes,
in. Using drones in the healthcare delivery system.
Yes.
We've been drumming it home, and we have a specific ministry now for science, innovation, and technology.
Yeah.
What do you think of what the Vice President said, using drones for healthcare?
So, you know, I don't want to get a little political.
It's not
here,
political. This is you're an engineer. Tell me about it. You work with drones and all of that.
The challenges that we usually have is, what exactly do we want to be like when we grow up? You know, just pointing at technologies, a series of discrete events that we hope somehow miraculously will form a system.
Right.
It's not the right approach.
Okay.
You know, I've heard about drones being used for policing. And I ask myself, what problem do we really want to solve with the technology? Because technology is supposed to be there to solve problems.
Right.
Right? So what exactly do we want to do with the drones? Okay, we want to deliver blood with it to remote areas.
Okay.
How are we delivering the blood today?
Right.
It has to be cost effective. You know, just jumping on technology for the sake of technology oftentimes end up causing more problems.
What do you
than
see in this particular case? You have worked in both worlds.
Yeah.
You have 22 patents in your name.
That's right.
This drone
Yeah.
in medicine, what do you see?
I think it's...
What is the reality?
I think the reality is that it has a place. It has a place for remote areas that are inaccessible. It has a place for accident sites that is far away from the nearest hospitals where you need this kind of... So there is a place for it. What I really want to see is, what is the framework within which this solution is meaningful.
Right. That's what you want to see.
Exactly.
So that, for example, we have a lot of graduates, 998 of them working at the presidency.
Yeah.
They say little is more and more is little. You want to take a bite?
Well, you know, I don't think we need more people. I think we need more results. And sometimes, you know, just because you have more people thrown at a problem doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting optimum solution.
Prof, I thank you very much for your time. Admissions are ongoing at the Academic City College, right?
Yes.
And you're training a different kind of leaders.
We are doing that.
I thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate
and I wish you all the best in
Thank
your
you.
endeavor. Pleased to have met you. That's Professor Fred McBagonluri. He's a provost and president of the Academic City College here in Accra. He's also the owner of 22 different patents that's used currently in the USA. He's the 2008 Black Engineer of the Year in the United States. Plus, he won the Head of States Awards in 1991, so he has a bragging right as well. And is a very proud old student of Nandom and an APSU. I'm not so happy saying APSU, but it's okay. Don't worry. We'll be back after this break.